Hey viewers, 2Fortis here, and in this video I want to talk about a tournament that I just entered for the One Piece card game. It was just a local event at my local friendly gaming store, and I just wanted to talk to you about my experiences at that event. So far, as far as playing the One Piece card game, I've played the app quite a bit, but I haven't played a whole lot with the actual physical cards or online on Tabletop Simulator. So I've only played one or two games, very few. I've watched a lot of games online, but I've never actually played any of those games. So in this tournament that I went to, I think there was available 64 players could have entered. I think about 30 signed up, and there was about 15 who actually showed up to the event. So for the event, just for entering the event, which is pretty cool, we got this kind of deck with Uta in it. I believe it's some kind of promo pack. I'm gonna go ahead and open that up a little bit later. And then we also got one of these tournament pack cards to go along with just entering the event. It was $10 to enter the event, and they decided to do best record top 3 games, and then we'll cut to top 8. So for this first kind of games that I really played, honestly, my favorite character in One Piece is Zoro. Oh, just for your information, if you are watching this video and you have not seen all of One Piece up to the end of the Wano arc, there are spoilers in this card game, so you might see some spoilers there. So if you don't want to see any spoilers, I would go ahead and turn off this video. But if you are interested in learning about my experience in the event, then go ahead and keep watching. So my favorite character is Zoro. It's always been Zoro. So of course, I brought to my first real tournament, I brought the Zoro leader. It's kind of interesting. I'll probably go over it a little bit later, but I guess Zoro is kind of one of the better top tier characters, if you would say, depending on how you build his deck. But my favorite character is Zoro. That whether he was top tier or not, that had no influence on me making this decision of what character to bring. So I brought Zoro, and I'm gonna go ahead and show you my deck. Maybe I'll just talk about So I'm just gonna talk about my experience at the event. It was really cool. Everyone was really welcoming. I did end up winning my first 3 games. I'll talk about that a little bit more. So I went 3-0, so I did make it to top 8. And so for top 8, we got 2 more booster packs. I think you get 1 booster pack just for entering, but we got 2 more booster packs, and then a winner pack, and then I also got 1 other tournament pack. So that was pretty cool. And then we got in the top 8. Then we got 1 free pack for every game that we won. So I did make it to top 4. So I got 1 extra free pack. I did lose my game in my top 4. It was really close, but I did end up losing that game. So ultimately, it's pretty cool. I got this Uta kind of like booster pack thing. We got the winner pack tournament cards, 2 tournament pack cards, and then 3 boosters as well. So that's what I got for the tournament, and I probably will open this up on a different video, so go ahead and watch that look forward to that coming up. So what I wanted to do now was just go ahead and show you my deck that I played. Most of it's going to be from this red starter deck. But I have my leader here, Zoro, who his ability is he's 5,000 attack. He has 5 life. He's red, so I can only play red cards, and he has an ability that I can attach 1 Dawn, and all of my other characters gain 1,000 power. So it's kind of an interesting character there. In the Zoro deck, I've got Chopper. I believe I've got 4 copies of Chopper. Chopper is the blocker for 1 cost, which is really good in the Zoro deck. So far, I've only had 1 Nami. One Nami on the search Nami, which I can search for Straw Hat. So I was only running 1 copy of the search Nami. I definitely would want to run 4, but I only had 1, so I have 1. Also, for the 1 cost, I have the starter deck Nami. I have 3 starter deck Namis, just because she's a 1 cost, and she has a decent ability that you can add a Rested Dawn to a character. So if I played another card and then added, and if I had Nami out, then I could use that to give my Rested Dawn, for example, to Zoro, and then boost everyone else's power. It's kind of good use of cardage to get those used on. For the search Nami is really good because just for 1 cost you can draw that Straw Hat card into your hand. And they did do an errata on this card, so you don't have to only look for character cards. You can also look for event cards, perhaps Jet Pistol, which I also have in this deck. So anyway, you can look for a card so you're not losing a card when you play her, and you can look for other holes that you might want to fill. The other card I'm running are I have 2 Otamas, and really I would want to be running 4 Otamas. Otamas, first, she has a counter 2,000, so really I'm just playing her for the counter. But the other thing that she combos really well with is Jet Pistol. And so the only reason I would play her is when you play her on play, give one of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 power. So we'll talk about Jet Pistol a little bit later, but that combos really well with Jet Pistol and some higher powered characters. So really that's the only reason I'm playing Otama, for the counter 2,000 and the minus 2,000 power. So I would really want to run 4 Otamas, but I only have 2. Brook. This is from the Brook starter deck. The only reason I'm running Brook is 4 counter 2,000s, and I'm running 4 Brooks. I would never really probably play Brook. Then I'm running 4 copies of Vivi, which is kind of strange. But the reason I'm running 4 copies of Vivi, I kind of played around with this a little bit, just play testing on my own. With the 4,000 power on a 2 cost, with the Zoro ability, that basically bumps it up to 5,000, which can then attack on leader. And with the curve of a kind of a lower curve on the cost of 2, works pretty well with Zoro. She also has a counter 1,000, so that's pretty decent. She does not have the Straw Hat ability, so you can't go searching for Straw Hats. But I am running 4 VVs. Then I have Sanji. Really the only reason I'm running this character is for the counter 2,000. I probably wouldn't ever play this card. I only have 1, so I'm playing that. Then we have the Usopp from the starter deck. Usopp has an interesting ability, but really it's just kind of a filler card because I don't have anything else better to run. So I would probably play this card potentially, But he does work combo a little bit with the. They can't use blockers to block Usopp, but he's a little weak for the 2 costs. He is a 1,000 counter. He does have that trigger, so maybe you can pop off that trigger if it goes into your life. But I would probably look for something else better to run with Usopp. But I'm running Usopp for now. I'm running 2 Usopps. Then I have the Nico Robin, 3 cost 4,000 power. This is from the Romance Dawn Nico Robin. Nico Robin is really good, but I only have 1 of this Nico Robin. So I would probably want to run 4 Nico Robins of this Nico Robin, but I only have 1, so I'm only running 1. This Nico Robin is vanilla, no ability. Nico Robin, 3 cost 5,000 power, counter 1,000. Really, I'm just running her just because she's only a 3 cost at 5,000 power. So I can kind of a red swarm more. So I have 2 of those Nico Robins. Here I also have Caribou. Caribou, I'm not sure if I would run it if I had other cards to run, but Caribou is okay. He's at 3 cost 4,000 power. He's counter 1,000. He is not a Straw Hat character, so I can't search for him. But he does have an interesting ability, is that on KO, I can KO an opponent's characters with 4,000 power. So I can kind of control the board a little bit with Caribou. Unfortunately, it is on KO. I did end up using his ability once during the games, and it did come in handy. But because it's on KO, it's a little bit unique. But you can always have that as a threat with the 4,000 power. I just put 1 Dawn on Zoro, which then he becomes a 5,000 power. And so he's a constant threat that you would have to get rid of depending on what's on your opponent's board. So I'm running 4 Caribous. Here then I have Sanji, which is the Sanji from the starter deck. Definitely want 4 of these. 2 cost 4,000 power. I can add 2 Dawn and he gains Rush. So works really well with the Zoro deck. I am running 4 copies of Sanji. Then I have the starter deck Zoro, 3 costs 5,000 power. He doesn't gain Rush, but just adding 1 Dawn to this Zoro card, he gains 1,000 extra power. Plus I have the 1 Dawn on the leader Zoro, so he becomes a 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 Zoro. So pretty lethal. Unfortunately, he does not have Rush. But I am running 3 copies of that. I do have 1 Rush Zoro. I would definitely want to run 4 of these. I would probably replace this Rush Zoro with the other Zoro. Just because also both of those don't have any counters. But I only have 1, so I'm only running 1 Rush Zoro. Then I have 1 Uta, 4 cost 4,000 power, no counter ability. She's not a Straw Hat, so I can't search, but she does have an interesting ability that on play I can add 1 character card other than Uta with a cost of 3 or less from my trash to my hand. So potentially I can get a Brook with a 2,000 counter. I can get an Otama to get minus 2,000, which triggers with Jet Pistol, which will show a little bit later. I could get a Sanji, which is the Rush Sanji. Depending on what she gets, she's very versatile. I have 1 copy of Uta. Then I have 1 copy of the Jinbei blocker, 4 cost 5,000 power, no counter, but he is a blocker, and I can attach Dawn to him to get some other abilities. I honestly drew him once, and I did end up playing him So he's kind of more of a longer term game, and that's kind of what I had to go with because I don't have the Rush 4 copies of the Rush Zoro, and some of the other kind of more staple cards that I think would make this deck run a little bit better. But I have 1 copy of Jinbei. Then I have 4 copies of the Luffy 5 cost 6,000 power, no counter, but he is Rush, and then I can add 2 Dawn so that they can't use blockers. I have 4 copies of this Luffy. Then for my events, definitely have 4 copies of Gum Jet Pistol, 4 cost. You can KO one of your opponent's characters with 6,000 power or less. So that really works really well. Also with the trigger, triggers the main effect. So this is going to KO probably most of the characters that you're going to see. Otama works really well, so I can KO characters. If I play the Otama, bring them down from 8,000 to 6,000, and then I can KO them. So anything at 8,000 or higher, there's some green staple cards, and I believe some blue cards as well that are going to be at 8,000 power. Specifically the Kid 7 cost or 8 cost Kid, which you want to get off the board. So this is a great card. 4 copies of Jet Pistol. Then I have 2 copies of In 2 Years. I can 1 cost search for a Straw Hat look at the top 5 and search for a Straw Hat character. This is great depending on filling holes that you might want to have for your hand. And then finally, I have 2 copies of Diablo Jambe. 1 costs they can't use blockers, and then has a strange trigger ability. But the main thing is that they can't use blockers. I actually was able to win a game with Diablo Jambe because my opponent had a bunch of blockers. He had no life left, and then I played the Diablo Jambe on my leader and pumped him up with a bunch of Dawn, and he was not able to block that. So that was my deck. The first game I played a lot of kids. I played a kid the first game, which was really close. The second game, honestly, I should have lost the second game, but the player was a very new player to card games and cards in general, and he didn't know how to play this game. And he was playing a Dofi Don Flamingo deck. He had all the right cards coming out, and if he knew how to play, he would have beat me. But I was trying to help him out a little bit, but I did win that game. The third game I played was another kid who I won. That was another really close game. Then we went to top 8, and then in my top 8 game I played the first kid that I played the first time, and I won that game again pretty handedly. Kid always feels like you're threatening because he can just, towards the mid game, late game, you can just put a bunch of Dawn on Kid and just attack twice with a huge Kid. And if you have any board presence, then you're going to be taking a lot of damage. You're probably... I was always above 4 life on that game, but I always felt threatened because I didn't want to take too much damage. And then the last game that I played, again, was against the other kid of the first kid that I played that I beat. And that game was really close. I felt like I was never in control, really, of that game. I was always behind. On my last play, I kind of messed up because I had to take out. He had the kid that when he's committed, you have to attack that kid, and then so I went in with my Zoro at 11,000 against his 8,000, which I was able to take out his kid. but then I put an extra Dawn on one of my other characters to attack into something else, which the attack did go through, but then I had 2 Dawn left over instead of 3 Dawn left over, and my hand was a bunch of Rush Luffy's and Zoros, which have no counter. So if I didn't put that Dawn on there, and instead I played the VV, which is a 2 cost, which gives me that plus 1000 counter. So if I didn't put that Dawn on and I played the Zoro, which I should have done, then I would have had the VV for the 1000 counter, and then I would have been able to survive my next turn, just dropping my hand on counters. But by that time, I think he still had 3 life. I'm not sure if I would have been able to do 4 damage on the next turn anyway, but I would have been able to survive one more turn, because then I would have had my Luffy. I would have had three attackers, but then I think he had 2 Okikus out, which he would have just committed my characters, and then taken them out. Kind of interesting how that game would have gone. So anyway, that was my experience. I had a lot of fun. I can see how blue actually is a little strong, especially with Sentimaru and the pacifista blockers. It takes a little bit of thought to set up your deck, because you have to know what's in your deck. I forget what that blue card is, but you play that. It's a character, and then you look at the top 3, and then you can rearrange them. Then you can attack with Dofi, and then you can spend 3 Dawn, and you just keep pumping out those cards onto your board without even playing them from your hand. And then you have a bunch of event cards. So anyway, that was my experience. I had a lot of fun. Hopefully I'll play more games. See ya. If you have any thoughts or comments, or if you played some games already, leave them in the comments below. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye.